And welcome to another episode of Experts Speak. I'm Michael DeLon, and today I am talking with Dylan Jahraus. Dylan, well, first of all, thank you for being my guest today.
Thank you for having me, Michael. I was excited for this.
Well, you are welcome. It is going to be such a fun conversation. So, Dylan has done a lot of fun things in her life, but she built an Etsy shop, right? A business on Etsy, and not only did she start one, she grew it to seven figures over a number of years, and it's super successful. And then she started a program to coach and guide and direct other people who want to do the same thing, just to follow her pathway to make it super fast, super easy for them, so they don't have to figure it all out themselves. I love that. So we want to talk about all things Etsy today. And if you're not an Etsy person, don't worry, because you're going to learn business lessons that apply to your business as you listen to Dylan. So, Dylan, tell me, how in the world did you get to doing what you're doing today?
Yes. So this was not expected, I will say. I started out in corporate e-commerce out of college. I worked for some big companies like Zappos and Zulily. So in the corporate e-commerce side of things, and I climbed the corporate ladder, but then I met someone online. He was a handsome military guy, and we met up, and the rest was history. So I married someone in the military, which meant we had to move. So we left Seattle, which is, huge e-commerce area, and I had to start job hunting. And we knew we'd be moving every couple of years. So it's just, you end up becoming underemployed oftentimes in that situation. So I was trying all these side hustles. I was walking dogs. I was house sitting. I opened an Etsy shop. I put something on there. 2 months later, it sold. I thought, oh no, like what do I do
What do
now?
I do now?
um, I guess I have to like make this and ship it to someone. And we figured it out. And by month 4, we were doing over 10 grand a month. My husband was a huge supporter here. And the first year we did over 6 figures, and the rest was history. So 7 years later, we're at about 1.7 million. And a year and a half ago, I started teaching people how to do this because I did see a huge hole in the market where no one was teaching like corporate e-commerce principles for Etsy. Most people were saying, this is how I did it. You can try it this way.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I got into coaching. Now we've helped over 2,000 people. We do nearly sometimes 7 figures a month, actually. And we are, helping people all over the world from age 14 to people in their late 70s. So
That is so cool. What a, I mean, not only the age span, but the geographic span, because it's a worldwide thing, right?
yeah,
And so, all right, so let's talk. Let's just get it down to bottom line.
yeah,
Somebody's out here thinking about that. I loved how you said we're underemployed, and
yes.
and I think whether you're in the military or whether you're just in life,
Mhm.
many times we see people doing that. Let's talk about the what are some of the basic steps of Etsy, and how do you start down that pathway with maybe a vision, or maybe you don't even know what you're going to sell yet. How do you get people to start down that pathway?
Yeah. So I recommend not getting to the point where you are desperate to do something else, to really think about your life in a way where you're looking ahead 5 years. If I'm still in the same position I am now, if I'm still doing what I'm doing now, would I be happy with that? And if not, you've got to start making some moves because Etsy, it's not a get rich quick scheme. No,
Good.
no business worth having is. No business that will be long term typically is. So you have to get started. That's the first step. People wait way too long until they get started. So you don't have to have this genius idea. You don't have to invent anything. You can get started with literally one product. But I do recommend, instead of thinking about what product to sell, think about what customer to sell to first. So
Amen.
yeah, we want to target someone with who's profitable, who has maybe higher discretionary income. Just think, hey, what are they buying? What would they come to Etsy for? And just start with that.
Hmm. That is so good. It always takes me back to the Grinch that stole Christmas.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's up on his mountaintop, right? And he's looking down, and who's there? The Who's of Whoville. And that is so good that you always need to start with who. I learned that from Dan Kennedy decades ago, but most business owners don't, especially in this world. They go to product. I'm going to make necklaces, or I'm going to make, and good for you. Who's going to buy it, right? And what you're saying is you always start with the who, once you know who you're servicing and who your audience is, now you can understand how they function,
Mhm.
what would be of interest to them, and now you present it to them. And that's brilliant. Everybody can listen to that. And if you missed it, rewind this for about 2 minutes, and you will understand the importance of finding your who. So, okay, so thinking 5 years ahead, that's good too.
Mhm.
I love that it's not a get rich quick thing, because there are way too many of those things out there.
Right.
And so find your who, and then you start investigating them and things. All right, now, but this is a scary thing to think, okay, I'm going to put something out. How in the world will I fulfill it and get it to them and all of that? There are a lot of moving pieces in this, right?
Yeah. But I work with people who they can't even get on a Zoom call. Like, you don't have to be good with technology. I work with people in third world countries. They have Etsy shops. You can do digital products. You could do print on demand where someone else fulfills it for you. You don't have to be an artist by any means. I actually think you have an advantage if you're not an artist, because typically artists are a little bit more personally tied to the product and have
Mm-hmm.
time breaking from that. So if you approach it like a business, and you can even outsource, you can have someone create a spreadsheet for you and then you can sell it. You don't even have to be good at making the thing. Really. So there's no excuse to not try. Yeah.
See, I love what you just said, because if you get a mind for business,
Mhm.
you can outsource almost probably everything, right? And you could run the business of your Etsy store as a business. And I always think about it as like franchising. So the person who owns McDonald's
Mhm.
in your neighborhood, right? They're not flipping the burgers. They're in their corporate office managing those franchises. And if you look at owning an Etsy store in that way, that is one way you can do that.
Yeah.
There are
Ab-
some people who, like my sister-in-law, had an
Mhm.
Etsy shop, and she made earrings and things, and that's what she loved to do on the side. It was just a fun little thing for her. You can do that too. But a lot of times people don't know the pathway. And it's like, okay, so what do? Go to Etsy and create a membership? What, I mean, what's the step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? And that's kind of what you've created, and that's what you help people. Is that, am I in the
Yeah.
ballpark?
Yeah, so about half the people I work with are just starting out, or maybe they've started a shop, they have less than 500 sales. But then the other half of people I work with, sometimes they're much larger shops. They have employees. Our top student, she did 8 million last year. She has 50 employees, but her sales are up and down. So that's very scary if you have 50 employees. And her margins were like 10%. So
Yeah.
that's a little nerve-wracking. So really what we focus on is high income, consistency, no matter what level you're at. But we are approaching it from a corporate e-commerce, principal level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, which is really important, because when you understand that business is based on principles, really, that don't change, and when you A, understand what they are, and B, follow them, your business tends to work better long term.
Right.
And if you're not getting into this to have that hockey stick revenue growth, because that'll kill you many times because you don't have the infrastructure. This is something that you set a 5-year objective to say, I want a successful business. And speak to this, because you've obviously got all kinds of revenue and money, and think of lifestyle. You're a wife, you're a mom. Speak to that, because I think sometimes people want to have a little more money so I can have a vacation, or I can have, but it could be more than that if they want it, right? Talk a little bit about those dreams.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are doing things for the outcome versus the process. If you're only trying to make money to buy the car or to, go on that vacation or buy the specific house, like once you hit that, then what? You've really got to start to learn to love the process. And once you start making money, it does become more enjoyable because it's hard. It's really hard. And yes, definitely have like goals out there, like, oh, we're gonna, start investing in real estate, or I want to, pay for my kids' college. But don't forget about the process, because you've got to learn to love the process in order to do this long term.
Yeah.
And I also caution people against when their income goes up, their spending goes up. And like, you guys, I eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for
Yeah.
lunch. My car is, I don't know, 13 years old.
Yeah.
Like, yes, we're millionaires, but no one would ever guess it because
Right.
we live like we're poor, but our lifestyle inflation, that was not a thing for us. So people get into the lifestyle inflation thing and they start to, their fixed expenses get way too high. You get into trouble that way. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We should do a whole podcast on that. Because you're so right. Just because you're so I'm a follower of Christ, right? And
Yep.
one of the books that I read was Randy Alcorn years ago, and he had a line in there that has just hammered me. And he talked about this. He says, as your level of as your income goes up, it shouldn't affect your style of living. It should impact your style of giving.
Mhm.
He was a big proponent of keeping your lifestyle relatively the same, give more away, do more for other people, and build those war chests for that rainy day because it might be coming, right? And
Right.
you're right. So many people don't do what you just talked about. So thank you for saying that and keep preaching that message because it's, and I love the process thing. Because
Mhm.
if you're just looking for the outcome, the process is going to be a grind and you're going to hit the goal and then you're going to go, oh, I got to do it again. Versus if you love the process, you're
Yep.
going to hit goal after goal after goal because it's not about the goal, it's about the process.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and having the reason of giving back, or sometimes it's taking care of your family or something, not just what am I going to buy for myself. For me, my sister, she actually she's 2 years older than me. She had a heart attack when she was 15, and she wasn't given CPR. She was in a coma, and now she's cognitively like a 9-year-old. So she's severely disabled. And I know I will be her guardian, someday in the next 10, 15, who knows how long years, but knowing that no matter what, I can give her the best care. That is driving me every day. You
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
Isn't that great? Something bigger than yourself.
Mhm.
And when you can take where you are, and
Mhm.
I get this from just knowing you for just a few minutes, really, you've got a heart to give back. And that's why you've created your coaching program here, is to help other people learn and grow as you guide them really to build a successful Etsy shop, a business that will grow to whatever size they really want. Talk about that process and the coaching program and how do you help people?
Yeah, so everyone has a different goal. Some people come in, they just want to pay off their debt. Some people want to quit their jobs. Yesterday, I signed someone up. Her husband has ALS, and he was diagnosed 5 years ago. She has a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old. She knows pretty soon she's going to be on her own, and
Yeah.
she's a full-time caretaker, no income. So, like, everyone has a reason, and for me to be able to give them the clear path when they have all this stuff going on, that's a reliable way to make money. That is why I do this. So yes, everyone has a different reason. And that's why we like to talk to everyone before they sign up for our program. Because with our coaching, I mean, we work with you one-on-one 24/7. You have a direct line to me and my team. Um, so
Wow.
we know what's going on with
Yeah.
your life. We know why you're doing this, and we partner with you. So it's truly a partnership when we work with you, and you hitting your goal. That is success for us. If you're not successful, then we're not.
Yeah.
Um,
That is so cool and so unusual, may I say, in coaching programs like this.
yeah.
Usually you're the guru, right? And it's like, well, yeah, my people will take care of you and I don't ever want to talk to you. This is a lot more high touch. It's a lot more personal.
Mhm.
And that's what I really, really appreciate about it and you is is grabbing people and saying, let me walk with you
Mhm.
to achieve the dreams you have. Because
Mhm.
they're probably totally different than the dreams you have, which is okay,
Mhm.
but we're going to help you and guide you to identify that who, and
Right.
then do the research and figure out, okay, what is it that I could offer them? How should I go about marketing to them and
Yeah.
fulfilling all of those questions that have to be going through people's minds? That's what you do when you work with one of your, do you call them members?
Yeah, so we have about 25 people in the company. There's 11 of us on the coaching team. So we have subject matter experts in all these different areas, and we'll help you decide who to sell to, what to sell, sourcing, your product mix, anything you need, scalability, but also how to get your first 3 to 4 thousand sales, how to get the traction. Most people never get traction and they quit. With
Yes.
this, the only way to fail is to quit. Alex Hormozy is one of my mentors, and he's really big on saying that. He hammers that home, and I truly believe that. So we try to make it impossible for you to quit. So that's why it's 24/7 one-on-one guidance, and then 4 Zoom calls a week. So there's no excuse
Yeah.
for failure. Yeah.
That's awesome. So it's nearly, dare I say, a guaranteed way to succeed, because you can't, if you keep going, you follow the guidance, you connect with the team, they're going to find a way. You know, we live in a world that people like to buy things, right? Is that
Yeah.
fair?
Yeah. But I would never ever say it's guaranteed.
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
the mindset that really any business owner needs to bring to the business.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
My business is not going to fail. I'm going to find a way. It might look different than what I think,
Mhm.
but the biggest thing that has really impacted me and my business is having coaches. I've had
Mm.
coaches for the last 12 years in a variety of different ways, because I know that a coach can see something that I'll never see. They have a pathway that I'll never learn, and it speeds up my ability to achieve whatever I'm going after. And
Yeah.
so I'm a huge proponent of coaches. And really that's what you are. You're a
Yeah.
coach for somebody who wants to start a business under the umbrella of Etsy store.
Right. Yeah.
Fair?
And it, it's to me, it's more risky going into a business without guidance. You know,
100%.
yeah,
Yeah.
really.
Um, yeah, rare is the day that we find somebody who does that
Right.
and succeeds. And you can do it, but the struggle, the grind, and I always ask people, I was like, why? Why do you want to do that? Why don't you just reach out and find out what is available to you, what pathways are there? I think that's one reason why franchises are so popular, because
Yeah.
they have a proven pathway to success.
Right.
And I think that's what Dylan has created, is a proven pathway to success. She's done it. She's
Mhm.
helped hundreds of other people do it, and she can help you do it. So you may be a business owner, but you might have a son or daughter in college who
Mhm.
could start a business like this. It could be, what'd you say, a 10-year-old doing this? I mean,
Yeah. 14. Yeah. 14.
14.
Or your parents, your parents could, you know,
Exactly.
they need a little extra income. Yeah, there's no really, Etsy doesn't discriminate. So no matter where you're at, what your background is, I work with doctors, I also work with people in e-commerce, but Etsy is different. It is different. It's very different than Amazon, different than
Mhm.
Shopify. I sell on those platforms as well, and we do cover those in the program, but Etsy is its own beast. And if you're willing to put in 5 years plus to try to figure it out, hopefully,
Yeah.
fine. But like, I don't know. I would never do that.
Right.
No,
Yeah.
knowing it's a plan. Yeah.
No, seriously. And she's got a proven plan. It's worked for her. It's worked for others. It'll work for you. You show up, you do the work. And so, Dylan, I mean, this has been fun. I've got I got a list of questions I could ask you, but we don't have time for that right now. Where do people find you? What's the next step for
Yeah.
somebody here who's like, this is really intriguing? You've put a different spin on, I'm buying a program, I got to self-study it. No, you're 24/7, one-on-one. You're going to help them succeed. Where do they go to find more information and take that next step?
Yeah. So definitely check out my YouTube channel. It's just Dylan Jahraus on YouTube, because I post 2 videos a week there for the last year and a half, 2 videos a week. We have hundreds of videos out there, and that will give you an idea of what this approach looks like and how kind of direct to the point, no fluff I am. And if that aligns with you, then I mean, we can just have a conversation. You could email, we could go, Instagram discussion, or you could just schedule a free call with us. But just check out the YouTube channel, and then we also have a podcast as well. We're the #1 Etsy podcast. My husband manages that, so I don't know as much about what's going on there, but but you could also listen to that. And if our approach, aligns with you, and if it makes sense, we'd love to just chat with you, see if we could even help you.
Yeah. I love that approach. I hope everybody listening got that. I want you to rewind, listen to it, because it's so giving first,
Mhm.
understanding, and I love how you say, if you align with us.
Yeah.
So you're looking for the right type of who for your business. And that is such a great marketing principle, because so many times that I see business owners going, well, here's my information, but you have to opt in first. And I was like, you know what? You can do that, but how about doing what Dylan's doing, is here's my videos. See if you align with me, because that's going to be a better fit. And then when you have that call, it's not a sales call. They're saying, hey, I've watched you. I like what, can we work together? Can you help me do this? Then you have those conversations. So much better approach. So, wow, well done on that. So, okay, we're going to have the YouTube channel in the show notes. So as you're listening to this, if you're out driving around or taking care of business, don't worry, you can come to the show notes, take this episode, listen to it, send it to some other people, because if you just think you've got 20 or 30 people in your life that might be thinking about how do I generate some more revenue? I thought about this. Send it to them. Let them listen to it to see how Dylan can help them as well. So Dylan, wow, this has been really, really fun for me. Thank you for spending some time and being my guest on Experts Speak.
Thanks, Michael. Good to be here.